Welcome, folks. My name is Ulrich Mentalot, and tonight we are at Innovate Springfield for a new episode of the interview on our for Springfield. And I do have a special guest, and I'm going to let him introduce himself. How are you, sir?
I'm doing pretty good. My name is Jamarco Clark, and I serve as the Vice Chancellor of Student Affairs at the University of Illinois Springfield. Thank you for having me with you this evening, and I look forward to chatting with you.
All right, sir. This is an interview, and we try to touch some very, you know, specific topics. So we'll be talking a little bit today about your background. Who are you, and where do you come from?
Mhm.
And we'll talk also about black men in higher education because you are a black man and you have a PhD, which is rare, you know, among black men. Can you tell me a little bit about your background? Where do you come from?
Absolutely. So originally from Pensacola, Florida. Um, I have been in the Midwest since 2010, but grew up in Pensacola, Florida. A lot of my family is still there. Got a lot of family in Atlanta as well, but that's where my humble beginnings come from. And then in 2010, I moved to Mount Pleasant, Iowa, where I went to Iowa Wesleyan University, played football, and just started on this journey of being a black man in higher ed as an undergraduate, first generation college graduate, college student. And so I've been very blessed to be in the Midwest. I've seen a lot of good things happen for my life, since I've been here. But that's kind of where the beginnings of my journey started too. So.
So, you're now originally from Springfield. Have you heard about Springfield before you moved here? And when did you move here to
Yeah,
Springfield?
moved to Springfield June of 2023. Had not heard a lot about it prior to then. I did have a teammate in college who was from Springfield,
Okay.
so I'd heard about it from him, but didn't know a lot about the place until I had first learned about the job that I moved here for. But then it's been here for a little over a year now, and have grown to like it a lot, and have really enjoyed being in Springfield.
So, what is the difference between, I know where you come from in Springfield.
Sure. I think similar to where I grew up in Florida.
Where in Florida did you
I'm from
grow up?
Pensacola,
Pennsylvania.
Florida, so
Oh yeah, you
Northwest
said
Florida,
that.
the Panhandle.
Okay.
So very diverse community that I grew up in, and I think Springfield, for the most part, also has that same trait as a community. I would say different than Iowa though. So coming here from Iowa, where I'd been for the last 11 years, number one, I'm happy that we have less snow here. Lots of snow in Iowa, much colder there, but I'm really happy about that. But what I really enjoy about Springfield is that it's kind of an old town. Where I lived at in Iowa, I lived in North Liberty, Iowa, which is just a suburb of Iowa City, and a lot of the stuff there was new. And so one of the most simple things that I appreciate about Springfield is driving around and seeing billboards. I didn't never recognized seeing a lot of billboards during my time in North Liberty, but I appreciate that. I also appreciate there's some really good food here and a lot of like old supper
Okay.
club type restaurants.
Have
So
you
I really
tried
appreciate
some
that.
of the how do they call that? Horseshoes?
Horseshoes.
Yeah.
I have had a horseshoe. I can't say that it's my favorite thing, but you cannot go wrong with fries and cheese. But
Okay.
I have had one. Had a
Okay.
pony shoe actually.
Okay.
Didn't eat a
Oh,
whole
okay.
horseshoe, but had a pony shoe. So much smaller portion. But they're good. I think people. One of the most interesting conversations is being here is where do you get your horseshoe from? And I hear a lot of different places. So I don't know that I'll ever actually get a whole horseshoe to have by myself or
Okay.
anything, but it's the ones that I tried have been good.
Okay. So, being a black man in higher education specifically, especially when you're young, it's something that is rare because we do deal with a lot of, the path to get in higher education for black male is actually tougher, it's harder. As a matter of fact, I come from Lincoln Lane, right?
Hmm.
And at Lincoln Lane, where I was at, we had a program called the Open Door Mentorship.
Hmm.
And the reason why this program was created at Lincoln Lane, it was to help black men finish their education and get their associate degree. And it was a program that was tailored to black men where we were having mentoring, one-on-one mentoring. We They were assisting us with getting books. We it was like I'm gonna say like a manhood, like type of life environment. No,
Yeah.
it was only male,
Yeah.
no females, but only male, and it really helped me a lot. Being in those environments because again, we deal with some issues that other people do not want to deal with. For example, some black men have kids early on, then they need to take care of those kids, so they gotta go to work, and it's hard to sustain a family and then go to college,
Yeah.
and then so can you tell us a little bit about your background, like what helped you to get to where you're at today,
Yeah.
knowing your what most black male deal
Yeah.
with
Absolutely.
in America.
Well, first say congratulations to you, right, for
All right.
even embarking on the journey. I think it's one that it's not to be taken for granted or lightly. It's certainly one that has opened a lot of doors for me. So I mentioned that first generation college student, and so what that means for our listeners who may not know is that I'm first in my family to go to college and then graduate college. And then I've done that, 3 times with my master's and my doctoral degree. And so that's a pretty large feat, right? And, it's very, to your point, not a lot of people do it, but as a black man in higher ed, what's really helped me is just understanding why I'm doing it. It's easy to get lost in the grunt of it, the stuff, the hard pieces that come with it. But when you can remember your why, that will
Mhm.
help you continue to go and continue to keep your eye on that goal. And that's what I've tried to do over the course of my education career, but also my professional career. Remember why I'm doing what I'm doing. And my story is I grew up in a rough community. Um, Low income, family assistance situation, single parent household, and so was doing a lot of things that I probably shouldn't have been doing, but was very fortunate to have people in my life who just believed in me and they talked to me and they showed me what education could do for me. And I look at education, specifically higher education, and then getting the opportunity to play college football was my ticket out of a rough situation. And in going to college and being able to play football, I was able to escape that environment that wasn't so great for me.
Mhm.
So for a long time, I was a product of my environment, and again, doing the wrong things. I used to say that I was running with the wrong crowds, and then I kind of reframed that because that wasn't fair to my friends who I chose to hang out with. We chose to do the stuff we did
Right.
together. We just didn't make the greatest decisions, but
Right.
again, I was fortunate to really be in a situation where it never got in any legal trouble, but again, was not making the greatest decisions at
And,
school.
mhm.
And so ultimately, again,
Was
had
that in high school? Was that in
in high
college?
school, it was in
Okay.
high school, and again, just kind of on the wrong path, but had some light bulbs that went off and had those people,
Mhm.
who just showed me what education could do for you and begin to take it a bit more serious. And so then that gets me to college. I'm playing football. Um, I had a lot of educators in my life who were great to me. And because of that, I wanted to be an educator. Well, I went to school to be a pre-K teacher. So I wanted to teach the little kids. And it was about my junior year I realized that no, I don't want to be in a classroom. I'd like to work at a college. And so since my junior year in high school, being about I was about 20, I decided I wanted to be a college president someday. And in 2013, 12, 13, I didn't really know what that meant. I just knew that, someday I know that we have a college president on this campus. That's the job I want. Prior to that, it was I want to be a teacher, I want to be a principal, I want to be a
Right. Right.
superintendent. But now that I was focusing on higher education, that's what I kind of set out to do. And I'm in a role where on paper that's the next job, but it's been more about that for me. It's been an amazing journey where there's not been a lot of black men that
Right.
I've been around in the journey, but has been really amazing has been um, the in the spaces where, yep, I am maybe the only black man that students are seeing, and that helps me remember my why. That representation matters.
Right. Okay. So what about you mentioned the why. What were your whys?
Yeah, my why was just trying to make a better life for myself. Finding that opportunity to break generational poverty, finding that opportunity to not be a product of my environment, Those were the whys leading up to this point. And now, since I've been a professional, my whys are the students who look like me, the young black men who are coming from similar environments or similar situations. I want to show them that, hey, we don't have to be a product of our environment.
Right.
We can make it out. You can get a doctoral degree, you can get that master's degree, and you can go on and do good things. So those are my whys now. I do my work for the students that I get to serve.
Okay, so we'll take a short break and we'll be back. So we're back on our Springfield, and I have with me Dr. Clark. I had a first podcast with Dr. Gooch, and I don't know if you were hired by that time or no. I don't remember. I think it was sometime around 2023 or 2022. But she was talking about building her. She was talking about, she was in the stage where she was hiring, looking to see who will, work with her and what type of people she wanted to work with. She was talking about, her vision and seeing you today. Uh, it's to me, it makes me happy because she could have had multiple, options, and I think it's something that is very it's an innovations at US. If you probably noticed that there is not a lot of black instructors on campus.
Mm-hmm.
There's not a lot of black staff. There are some, but not
Yeah,
as many.
absolutely.
Probably one or two. We have Mary Watson around there. And then you are the first, I think, first black male vice president at the University of Illinois. So why University of Illinois?
Yeah, absolutely. So as I shared, I came here from the University of Iowa, where absolutely loved my time there and the work that we got to do. And that was a job that positioned me to be able to take the jump that I did. So it's like a very unnatural jump. Went from an assistant dean to become the vice chancellor here, and I when you're looking for a job, and that's the thing, right? I wasn't looking for a job. It was kind of found, right? I was found throughout the process, but I think when you decide that you're going to engage with the job, you've got to find a place that wants you as bad as you want it, and that's what I found in US. I also saw and there was going to be an opportunity to do some really special stuff here. And we've been able to do that. So just like Chancellor Gooch was talking about building her staff, I've been doing that over the course of the
Okay.
last year, building my
Okay.
staff, getting some great folks in place that can help us carry out the vision that we have for our division. I think ultimately I decided to say yes to come here because, personally it made sense. Professionally, it lined up with that goal of someday
Right.
being a
And
president
I
or a
was gonna I
chancellor.
was gonna come back to
And
that part.
I told the chancellor,
Yeah.
we talk about it constantly. Like, why did you hire me? Why did you pick at the time, a 30-year-old to come and be your vice chancellor? And I really love working with Chancellor Gooch. She is an amazing professional, but she's extremely supportive, and she allows me to do the work I need to do to try to get our division in a better place. And I think that's emulated across our cabinet. As she talked about building that team, it's been a delight, and I'm thankful to be here and working with her and the rest.
This program is presented to you by Afro House Springfield Media. Learn more, visit www.afrohousespringfield.com.
So we're back on our for Springfield Ulrich Mentalot, and I have with me Dr. Clark from UIS. So we're gonna talk a little bit about your division, your department. What is your department? What do you do?
Yeah, so I vice chancellor for student affairs, oversee student affairs, which is a division that's made up of roughly 18, 19 departments, ranging from residence life to athletics to food services, counseling services, diversity center, the child care center, um, career services, and several others. And essentially, what we're responsible for is a lot of the stuff that impacts the student experience outside of the classroom. So it's really helping students figure out, their identity, what are the things that they're going to do outside of the classroom. The job of student affairs, in my opinion, is to complement what's happening in the classroom. And so we just try to make sure we give students the skills and tools and experience they need to be successful and kind of creating that holistic experience while they're at college. So
And so it's a pretty large, it's a pretty large department,
mm-hmm.
and
Yep.
for someone that is 30 years old, how do you deal with work
Yeah, I
and your personal life as a
sure.
young man?
Yeah. You certainly gotta have that balance. I think it's really easy to just go, and just go nonstop, and that's what I've always been used to. I've been used to just working late hours, getting stuff done, but I've now gotten to a space of just being able to have better work life harmony. So trying to balance how much I'm working versus how much I'm taking time. And, it's something I talk to my staff a lot about. I think the most important part is I've got a really good team of folks around me who help us run the division. So when you hear 18, we got roughly 18 to 19 departments. I'm not working directly with all of them. I've got a team of 8 direct reports who I work with, and then they work with all the respective areas. But I provide that administrative oversight. But having a good team has really been helpful. Last year my team was much smaller, didn't have as many of our people in place, and now this year, this school year, as we've got more in place, it's been great, kind of a breath of fresh air, if you will, because it's not, I spent about 8, 9 months. I was also the interim director of athletics, so kind of doing two full-time jobs, and so now we've got an AD in place, got another few key roles in place, and
So
it's
that
been
means
been
two
helpful.
salaries.
You would think so, right?
Oh,
No,
oh no.
just one salary, but yeah, you would think
Okay,
so.
because I thought it would be two different roles, so you get paid twice.
No,
No,
no, don't
no,
get
it's
paid
okay.
twice.
So you mentioned something about the whys earlier, and the whys could be financially, could be personal goals and stuff like that. And black men in America, we don't see. I'm not talking about us, but I'm talking about the majority. A lot of times, like black men see success through sport. What what do you think? What is your view on that? Seeing success only through sport, like being a basketball players,
Yeah, I think there's a
because
lot.
just the richest black man in America is not an entertainer,
No,
is not an athlete,
no,
is
and
is
I
a
think
businessman.
yeah, and I think that's it, right? There's so many ways for you to define success, and so
Hmm.
success is very subjective. And so I think we first got to understand, what does success mean for us. And so for me, when I think about it, all right, I was 20 and I said I want to be a college president, and I'm one step away from that. Well, you could say that I've kind of have found some success. I mentioned I'm a first generation college student. I've got 3 degrees. There's some success in that. And
But
so
why do you think that most of us see sport?
I think it's because of where we come from in our communities. Because when we think of like when you ask a young kid, what do you want to be when you grow up? Professional sports players, professional NFL, professional NBA. That's what I said. I wanted to be an NFL player. I wanted to play football. I played football in college, but I realized that I needed to go pro in something other than
Hmm.
sports, and that's kind of what kind of turned it for me. So I think it's what we see on TV. Representation matters. So you don't
Yeah,
see the
that's what I was gonna.
businessman.
That's what I
Yeah,
was gonna say.
you don't see the businessman
Representation
on
matters.
TV.
Yeah,
You don't
publicity,
see the black engineers on TV.
activities.
You just see the sports,
Right.
and it's what we like. It's what we relate to, and so
Hmm.
that's why naturally we're like, all right,
Yep.
this is what I want to be. You have a lot of kids say, I want to be a policeman. I want to be a firefighter.
Hmm.
You see that stuff on TV.
Yep.
I was in a situation where I didn't even know that you could work at a college. I knew that there were colleges. I didn't know you could work
And
at a
how old were
college.
you when you were in that
I didn't
situation?
realize that you could until I got to college.
Okay.
And so obviously I knew that, there were people who recruited me. I knew that you could coach football
Okay.
and you could coach sports at a college, but I didn't know about a president or a dean of
Dean of
students
student.
or
Okay.
a vice chancellor. So exposure also matters. Is what are we being exposed to? And if we're only being exposed to people who are playing sports and we see them being successful, that's naturally what we'll say we want to do.
So let's talk a little bit about what is your favorite rap song, rap artist? Are you into rap?
Yeah, I
I
am
need to
into
know,
rap. I,
man.
I love music. My favorite artist is Meek Mill.
Make me. Oh
Yeah,
man, I
and
don't want y'all to go crazy in the comments.
yeah, go ahead and go crazy. Drop your best Meek Mill, or your favorite Meek Mill song. I love the Some Dreams and Nightmares.
Okay.
I mean, I've got Dream Chasers tatted right here
Oh
because I
God,
really, I
you really
really,
got it.
I really believe
What do
in.
you think about the Mick Mill and Diddy staff? No, we're not gonna.
Yeah, that's we won't talk about that on the camera. That's
Yeah,
interesting stuff, but yeah,
that's
we
why I
won't
would say
talk
people
about
gonna
that
go
on the
crazy
camera.
in the comments.
Sure, understand. But no, I really, people will call it struggle rap, but can relate to it in the sense of just like,
Right.
I'm more into the message of just working
Right.
hard
Mm-hmm.
and chasing that dream and not taking no for an answer in the sense of like,
Right.
oh, you can't do this, you can't do that. No, I'm gonna show you that I can work hard and I can get to where I want to be. So a big Meek Mill fan. I'm from the South though,
Okay.
and so Boosie and Webby. A lot of people
Okay.
don't know about that out here,
Okay.
but I grew up on those guys. And then this may be a shocker, but I love Adele.
Okay.
Big Adele fan
Okay.
as well. So um, I appreciate the messages that are just in music, and for the most part, like music across the board.
So what